Hey, what's up? My name's Toastify, and today I'm going to be covering the art community drama Iceberg. The art community is a very large component of the internet and has been one of its core staples ever since the beginning. Since the 90s, it has had an influence on so many people that it's hard to even call the art community a community when it's more of a huge conurbation of creativity. However, with such a widespread appeal, there's bound to be some contentious topics and disagreements between people that become very popular. So, here's an iceberg for it. Thank you to user TLeaf0 for creating this iceberg and posting on Reddit. Over the next half an hour or so, I'll be going down the iceberg addressing everything, from terms that are widely known in Layer 1, all the way down to some of the darkest and most interesting topics at Layer 6. Obvious disclaimer here before the video begins, I am not an artist. I'm terrible at art, but for a while the art community was the place where I gained the most success for over 4 years. So I did try to embed myself into the lore of the land. Also, I've done this research literally by myself, so if you'd like to correct me and you're a more experienced veteran of the art community, feel free to in the comments. Anyway, with that all over, let's begin. DeviantArt. Arguably one of the most popular art platforms today, if not the most popular, DeviantArt is a website founded in 2000 that gives artists a platform to create and post art, and contains the largest community of online artists. Despite the association to websites such as Tumblr, where restrictions are placed on certain things, DeviantArt, as far as I can see, is an open field. There are no restrictions on language, and sexual content in most natures is completely fine, meaning that if you go far enough into this website, you'll find some pretty obscure and disgusting stuff. Toby. Toby was a prominent art content creator who started their content up in 2020, making long-form videos discussing drama or talking about past experiences and stories. They made a lot of connections within the community and blew it with videos about Luma Starbun, Atozy, Discord cults and Twitter, and she gained a lot of connections from said video. The drama that Toby was involved in is pretty complex, but to summarize it, Toby made a misinformed video on creepshow art, and was later criticized for her toxic behavior towards others by two small creators, those being Kai West and Omnia. Toby's friends in the art community responded to Kai and Omnia's videos and defended Toby, but one of the biggest videos, which featured Just a Robot and Manga Kamen and Fuchsia Butters, had a lot of faults in it. This then caused people such as Thuman and Prismate Luke to call out Toby's friends. It was a huge amount of mishmash, infighting, and was only really resolved when the drama essentially died out by itself and people such as Spoctor stepped in to put an end to it. Creepshow art. Creepshow Art was once one of the biggest creators in art commentary who made videos talking about the art community, online drama, and political issues. She reached an apex of 500,000 subscribers, but soon got into hot water, firstly when she kicked off a huge wave of hate against fellow YouTuber Hopeless Peaches, and then when the site lolcar.farm leaked that she was on the website posting negatively about her friends behind their backs. This was followed by a video made by Emily Artful, which went into extreme detail about Creepshow's harassment and stalking of her for multiple years, obviously causing the art community and other people outside the community to go completely against Creepshow. She has returned with a response, but it's convoluted and way too long, and today her channel stands at just below 300,000 subscribers. Art theft / tracing. The act of art theft and tracing is something that is widely criticized in the art community, despite appearing as more of a non-issue to people outside the community, which originally included myself. However, art tracing is more than just copying. It's blatant plagiarism, and giving no credit to the original creator is a huge blunder. With so many artists having different styles, it can sometimes be a coincidence though. Most of the time though, it's pretty cut and dry. Webtoon. Launched in 2004 in Korean and 2014 in English, Webtoon is a platform that partners with creators to publish original content, mainly comics and manga. It's another platform that has a large community of artists and is also incredibly popular to this day, and Webtoon and DeviantArt have even partnered before. Corporate art style. Corporate art style is a nod to the basic minimalist and flat-coloured art style that many big tech corporations have used in promotional material. The most recognisable of this for me is from YouTube, and it's been heavily criticised for feeling fake, lazy, and outright terrible. Then again, it could always be worse. Hopeless Peaches. Hopeless Peaches is an art creator heavily involved with the art community. Just like Creepshow, her videos normally consist of her commentary about art-related topics laid over time-lapse videos of herself drawing digitally, although her topics are widely different. Her channel currently sits at over 100,000 subscribers, but she is most known for coming under a huge wave of hate from multiple creators. To cut a very long story short, this all began when Prismate Luke made a video talking about Peach's suicide baiting on Twitter, which is supported by Creepshow, alleging her to be a terrible person behind the scenes. This sparked off a huge wave of back and forth responses, and again, it just developed into a mess. In 2021, Peaches made a video defending herself from her detractors, which included Creepshow, Omnia, Kai West, Prism Luke, and others, showing how some of them had plotted to help create external drama in order to aid Luke and bring attention away from his suicide baiting claim. Since then, Peaches had returned to her channel after taking an extended hiatus. Gacha Heat. Gacha Heat is an infamous genre of content made on YouTube which involves sexual situations being depicted by the kids game Gacha Life. It has become a topic that many in the art community repeatedly called out due to the unnecessary sexualization and exposure of this kind of content to children, often younger than 13. For those confused about the name, the term heat actually derives from female animals becoming sexually receptive, signaling they are ready for mating. Instagram lip artists. The term Instagram lip artist refers to a style popular in Instagram where several art patterns are made using the lips as a canvas. It's creative on paper, but in my opinion, the restrictive canvas makes the style incredibly limited and one-note. The term has become more affiliated with the beauty community rather than the art community, but still has had an impact as Instagram is a big platform for artists. Furry artists. This one is very self-explanatory, but for those confused, furry artists refer to people who draw furries. Furries are people who are a fan of dressing up in suits that take the likeness of anthropomorphic animals. Many furries create their own animal character, known as a fursona, which functions as their avatar within furry communities, and creating art for furries pays incredibly well. Twitter art. Twitter art refers to the art community's activity and presence on Twitter, arguably the biggest platform that artists have a significant presence on. Twitter has become a great place to get attention for commissions for many artists, but it's also a melting pot for toxicity and cancel culture. Gore art. Gore art refers to a style of gore, which is art with heavy emphasis on body horror, blood, bruises, cuts, body pieces, and guts. The art style has often been used creatively, but more commonly as a way to vent, but that doesn't mean it's all dark and depressing, as several versions of gore art have come out. For example, candy gore is one of these, being a version of gore art where the subject is colourful and unusually gooey, like melting candy. Rule 34. Rule 34 means if it exists, there is porn of it. No exceptions. This is an imaginary internet law that states if there's any conceivable idea that could be turned to pornography, then that type of porn already exists. This refers specifically to the immense ubiquity of porn materials across the internet, which cover a wide range of subjects, some of which are considered socially unacceptable or just plain bizarre. Rule 34 artists as a collective have come under fire for their sexual drawings of minors and unwanted sexualization of YouTubers, such as Jaden Animations. Instagram reposted art. Once again, very self-explanatory, there's been an influx of users on Instagram reposting art as their own. This is very common on Instagram, as rife as the Reddit meme stealing, if any of you remember that. But yeah, pretty simple. Art commentary. Art commentary is a very interesting form of the internet, fusing the technical roots of commentary and the rant format into progressive ideals of sites such as Tumblr. This has created a captivatingly interesting genre of content, but it's been plagued by lots of internal squabbling and petty drama. Antunes. Antunes is a controversial animation YouTuber known for the countless amount of drama he's been involved in. Currently sitting at around 1 million subscribers, he has made political artwork that has caused him to be accused of transphobia, homophobia, racism, and discrimination. He's also sent porn to minors and defended Cosmodor, a literal groomer. And on a similar note to him, Butch Hartman. The creator of Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom, among other shows, Butch Hartman is an American animator who's gone into a lot of controversy since joining the online community in 2018, following his resignation from Nickelodeon. He's criticized frequently for the ego he portrays online, his YouTube clickbait titles, his devotion towards extreme Christian values, his attempt to make a streaming service online, and tracing in his commissions. Paying in exposure. Paying in exposure is a term used by many people to alternatively pay for commissions. The idea is that instead of money, the person asking for the commission will shout out the artist. This is an incredibly unfair way to pay an artist, and has been condemned across the community. Edgy animations. Again, very self-explanatory here. Edgy animations are animations that are edgy, or particularly dark and depict dark topics. It's mainly been used as a way to vent emotions, although in the case of others, it appears to be towards more art forms. One of the most criticized edgy animators has been Birdie, a notorious individual that got exposed for a lot of drama that I'm not even going to explain right now. Lily Jean's art. Lily Jean Truman is an American YouTuber and verified Instagram celebrity who makes a variety of content. Lily is very popular, but she has been heavily criticized for attempts to dox, harass, and take down critics of her artwork. Map artists. Since there's two different abbreviations for map in the art community, and there's two entries here which both have the name map, I'm going to leave the darker definition for later, because I believe here, map in this entry refers to multi-animator projects. This is essentially a video where a number of animators work together and contribute their own frames of work, animating a character alongside some sort of song, and it all collects into a great big collaboration. The first ever one was actually created in 2012 for the Warrior Cats fandom, and you can still watch it to today. Shadbase. Shadbase was commonly known as the Rule 34 guy of the internet due to his viral sexualized drawings of characters online, and he's become infamous. Many people saw him as some sort of anarchic loose cannon, but Shadbase caused his own downfall by overstepping the boundary multiple times. First, it was a bet to draw Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in a comic, followed by a heavily sexualized 12-year-old LT Corbis, and finally a full-on comic of Daphne Keane from the Logan film, who was around 13 at the time of drawing. The final drawing in particular caused Daphne Keane's legal team to step in and request a takedown of Shadbase's website. As of recently, Shadbase's popularity in mental health has been on a downward spiral. He's reportedly gone into substance abuse and was recently arrested for assault with a weapon. Overpriced commissions. This is more of a broader topic, but many people have discussed what the right price for commissions are. Some have said they're overpriced, some say not. It entirely depends on the quality, the time taken, and the living environments of the artists. It's a good talking point to have. Companies stealing from solo artists. In December 2019, the BBC interviewed a number of artists about a big controversy involving their art being stolen by big companies. They claimed that malicious individuals are finding their art with the aid of bots and uploading it onto a website where it can be sold on a t-shirt without the artist's permission. This led some artists to try and get their own back on the bots by posting images that clearly state they're infringing copyright. It was a huge issue, and Twitter's bot problem still needs to be largely fixed, but the art community's response was great to see. Fake Procreate on Android ads. During 2020, the artistic drawing app Procreate was reportedly being advertised for Android on the App Store. Many of the apps turned out to be fake, ad-ridden scams, or straight-up viruses, and the issue fooled a lot of young artists trying to express themselves. Stay safe, kids. IRL serial killer art. Many people have expressed concern online over people making fan art and worshipping certain serial killers, possibly the most famous being Tumblr's obsession with Ted Bundy. However, it doesn't stop there, as there has been fan art made of other murderers such as Jeffrey Dahmer, Richard Ramirez, and Myra Hindley. Okay, that last one was a joke. Underage artists / lolly and shotter art. Alright, this is a big one. Let's get into it. The word lolly originates from Vladimir Nabokov's 1955 book Lolita, which is a book about a French professor's obsession with a 12-year-old girl. Since then, the term and the idea has been repurposed in Japanese culture. Lolita now commonly refers to an entire style of clothing. A lolly in popular culture is a female who appears / is young and childlike, and someone who refers to themselves as a lolicon is saying that they are attracted to lollies. And from the lolicon and yaoi culture, the word shotter itself has been derived, which refers to a male who appears / is young or childlike. And someone who refers to themselves as a shottercon is someone who is attracted to shotters. It's become the source of much debate among various individuals, especially in the art community for obvious reasons which I am not going to get into. Just look back through my videos if you want to hear my stance and you'll understand it pretty quickly. Influencers not paying for art. Once again, pretty self-explanatory, influencers not paying for art is a very scummy thing that happens. Probably the most well-known case of this is Madame, who basically did the whole pay-you-in-exposure thing and eventually ended up doxing the artist, Slimers, over the situation. Quiet Room Bears is a type of horror art that basically puts body horror and human components such as teeth and eyes onto teddy bears. It's a very creatively creepy style of art, but worth a look as it's really well done, so shout out to them. Mental facility patient art. Art is a form of creation and expression, and sometimes it's really interesting to see what happens when different people express themselves in different ways. In Hornsey, London, the Outsider Gallery was open, which showed art from mental facility patients, and it's amazing. Mental patient art has become a sort of twisted but beautiful kind of art subgenre, which has captured the interest of many, especially with the artistic works on Alzheimer's disease as of recent. This includes the self-portraits of William Untermolen, and of course in music, with the Caretakers Everywhere at the End of Time, as a more extended example. Gacha incest videos / incest ship art. Once again, I'm just gonna tie these two together because they're basically in the same vein, but in the deep dark pits of the art community, incest is an alarmingly prominent theme. Gacha incest videos are disturbingly frequent online, presenting yet another issue with the gacha community. And incest ship art is just kind of the same thing, people shipping brothers and sisters, daughters and fathers, mothers and sons. When you dive this deep into the internet, this kind of degeneracy is expected. Map commissions. Minor attracted person. Although originally created by 4chan as a way to troll the internet, the term has become accepted by pedophiles, primarily on Twitter, in a way to assimilate themselves into society. Many map drawings contain the character themselves with a map flag, which, if you want to know, is several horizontal stripes of blue, light blue, yellow, white, yellow again, and then a clay-like colour followed by maroon. And map commissions are what they say they are. They're commissioned for pedos. This can be anything from a character holding the pedophile flag, or a minor and adult straight up drawn having sex. Although thankfully, I have not seen or heard of the latter in my 5 years on the internet. Racist / sexist / homophobic art. Again, very self-explanatory. People have accused political artists such as the aforementioned Antunes and Stone Toss for drawing racist, sexist, and homophobic art. On the contrary, people such as Zfix's art have tried to combat this by making a lot of characters a different race, different sexuality, or with more weight in order to represent minorities and overweight individuals. Both of these people have received a lot of backlash. AI art. AI art is a really interesting and surreal thing. It's been conceived as an idea since the 60s, but has only really been realised in the modern era, with some artists using GANs, or Generative Adversarial Networks. Google's own version of AI art is called Deep Dream, which uses a different AI known as the Convolutional Neural Network, which basically creates more psychedelic imagery. And of course, if you're on Twitter, you've most likely seen the doll-e website art, which takes words given and tries to mash it up into a picture. I find it pretty fascinating overall, and it once again poses the question of what will happen to humans. Will AI soon be able to replicate human creativity? The answer is far ahead of any of us. Tracers and art thieves telling people to kill themselves. Really, guys? Come on. You put the maps up before this? Artists grooming fans. One constant that has unfortunately remained in the art community has been grooming, and there are a lot of reasons why. As said before, art itself is a helpful way for people to express themselves and be emotionally vulnerable, which obviously leads to an opening for some freak to hop in. Arguably the most infamous groomer inside the art community was Cristalli, a 23-year-old Guatemalan YouTuber who groomed 5 people over their career and was eventually sent to jail for 4 years, making national headlines and leaving behind a cult that is still active to this day. Well, it's over. I hope you guys learned something new, and if you didn't, at least this is something nice and interesting to put on in the background whilst I talk at 100 miles an hour because I don't know how to slow down. Let me know if you guys like these laid-back videos. I know there's been people saying that they don't want to see pedos being covered left, right, and center, but those are going to continue. This is just a bit of a break sometimes. So let me know what you thought, if you'd like me to cover any more icebergs. There's a few of them already planned and coming on the way. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, stay toasty.
Hey, what's poppin'? Jinbop here. Can I say with V is Calling? This was actually recommended to me by my good friend Ethan, also known as Crank Gameplays. He said it's sort of a game that's about dating through it's getting into a call with this girl. So, that brings back some memories for me because the first love that I ever had was sort of over the internet.